New Jersey may consider a statewide curfew. They say they're not there just yet, but of the potential options, self-quarantine or curfew is the one they say is most under consideration. Now, this is significant because what we see here, we will likely see in other states. Now, I personally live in South Jersey. I call it a Philadelphia suburb because, most people are either in the New York Metro or in the Philly Metro. But look, I'm in the state of New Jersey. They've already shut down all the schools by me. A lot of people are worried. Up in Hoboken, which is basically the New York City Metro, there's a train straight, like one stop. They have already instituted a 10 p.m. curfew. Bars are being shut down. Restaurants are being shut down. So this is likely going to expand as the number of cases continue to increase. We now have around 100 cases in New Jersey with 2 people dead so far. The issue, most of you probably already know by now, is just that we want to make sure it doesn't spread. So we're keeping things held back. Let's start with this story. And I've got a couple of other updates because Puerto Rico is also, going to be shutting down businesses. We're seeing this happen in the Philippines. A lot of countries are taking these actions, as well as the United States. The story from Fox 29 Philadelphia says officials considering statewide curfew amid COVID outbreak. Now, it's a pandemic, so I don't know. Governor Murphy was asked about curfews and also self-quarantine after Teaneck Mayor Mohammed Hamiduddin called for citywide self-quarantine for the Bergen County town hit hard by COVID-19. We're not there at a statewide level on either of those steps, but we could be, Murphy said on local radio. The curfew is probably, of the two, is probably the more immediate one under consideration. Murphy on Saturday night announced the second death in the state from coronavirus, a woman in her 50s who was being cared for at Centra State Medical Center in Monmouth County. Earlier, he had announced 31 new positive cases, bringing the statewide total to 98. The New Jersey Department of Corrections said it's suspending visits for the next 30 days as of Saturday evening. Murphy said earlier that the state is preparing for closing schools statewide, though he stopped short of taking that step. He said it's a matter of when, not if they close. Education officials said some 354 districts, or roughly half in the state, have closed already. So we're seeing a couple things. One thing I noted, Hoboken in New Jersey is imposing strict nightly curfew in coronavirus clampdown. As the number of cases in the New York Metro skyrocket, we are now seeing reports from New York officials that they believe everyone in New York has been exposed. So in the next coming weeks, we will likely see the number of cases skyrocket. Now, Andrew Cuomo recently came out and gave a press conference, and he said of the 3,000 ICU beds they have, 80% are already filled. If everyone in New York, and this could be in the metro, 10 plus million people are exposed. How many get sick? I don't know. Let's say 40%. So we're looking at potentially 4 million. If I'm doing a high estimate with the entirety of the metro, 20% of those may be hospitalized. We do not have anywhere near the beds. So this could potentially get really bad. But those are ridiculous numbers. I don't know what we're actually going to see. Right now, the numbers are really, really low. But we are seeing an exponential increase. The amount of cases in the United States has been growing exponentially. So if you're someone who doesn't want to take it seriously, by all means, you can leave the video right now and just ignore me. For everyone else, we are seeing the governments react this way. So at this point, I will tell you this. Let's set aside all the coronavirus talk. In terms of whether or not the illness will be really bad, I think we all get the picture. Let's talk about whether or not local governments are going to start telling you have to stay home, as they're doing in Hoboken. Fox News reports the curfew is among the first and most far-reaching of such measures taken in the U.S. to limit the spread of the virus. It was announced on Saturday night by the city's mayor, Ravi Bala, and came a day after a man became the first in Hoboken to test positive for COVID-19. Starting Monday night, residents will be under curfew from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. the next day. All Hoboken residents will be required to remain indoors during the curfew, except for emergencies and required work. At the same time, Governor Phil Murphy said Sunday morning that a statewide curfew was one of several options. So we know this. Let's move on here because Jersey City in the past couple days has already taken these actions. Now, I can't tell you why it's New Jersey that's doing this, but they seem to be the one taking some of the heaviest actions. Jersey City cancels city events, plans to impose a curfew, and now we see Jersey City orders 10 p.m. curfew for bars and nightclubs. I don't know. It looks like this one isn't going to be a wide-reaching, sweeping curfew like Hoboken is, but this will stop social gatherings. CNBC reports the mayor of Jersey City, New Jersey, implemented a 10 p.m. curfew Thursday for any of the city's establishments that carry a liquor license. The new measure is an effort to reduce large crowds and limit the spread of the coronavirus. We're trying to be more proactive than most, Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop said in an interview with CNBC. Jersey City has not reported any confirmed cases of COVID-19, but Fulop said that people with the virus have probably passed through the city and that there may be unconfirmed infections. New York City, which lies just across the Hudson River from Jersey City, has at least 62 cases as of Thursday afternoon. So this story is from several days ago, mind you. The mayor's executive order also requires establishments, including places of worship, restaurants, and event venues with a capacity greater than 25 people, to have sign-in sheets that would make tracking potential exposure easier. All public meetings held by the city have been canceled as well. So I think both of these stories are around the same time. I don't know if we're going to see an actual hard curfew, but again, there is more. USA Today reports coronavirus live updates. Americans, as of today, Americans should prepare to hunker down. No school for millions, chaos at airports. The race to get home was in full swing Sunday for Americans abroad, while millions of students at home were facing a Monday without school as the coronavirus crisis continued its dangerous spiral around the world. So there have been many videos circulating of people rushing home amid this travel restrictions about to hit from Europe. A lot of Americans were in Europe, and a lot of them flew back immediately, clogging up all of these airports. Now, I got some serious concerns here. When the coronavirus outbreak first started, when it was an outbreak, not a pandemic, we saw many people in quarantine and many governments were extracting these people. And my concern was that bringing infected people or potentially infected people back to this country would exacerbate the spread of this disease. Many photos and videos started emerging from airports of mass crowding and people standing shoulder to shoulder. If any of these people coming back are sick, now they're all basically exposed. So I don't understand what the government plan is, but I'll tell you, if you bring people back and then you scan them for a fever and they're asymptomatic, but they're all cluttered together, you're potentially infecting all of these people and then releasing them anyway when they could be asymptomatic but still carrying the virus. I get it, man. Americans got to come home. I don't know what you should or shouldn't do. I'm not a government official. I'm just saying all of this stuff is continually, stressing a bit, I guess, disconcerting. Now it's happening in Puerto Rico. They've declared a curfew and they've closed non-essential businesses amid coronavirus scare. Mind you, Puerto Rico is in the United States. It is not a state. It is a territory of the United States. They say Puerto Rico is installing a curfew and requiring non-essential businesses to close their doors as the U.S. territory tries to contain the spread of the coronavirus. If we don't act now with determinations and force, the consequences tomorrow will be even worse. The island of 3.2 million people has 4 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, and more than a dozen suspected cases are still awaiting confirmation. Under the new decree, the island will be under a curfew from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. that runs through March 30th. The only exceptions are those who are working or in cases of emergency. Now, I'm curious, what would happen if, you were in New York and you went to Hoboken? You're not a resident. Would they just kick you out of the city? What are they going to say? You can't be here. This is what's really confusing. I understand they're saying that if you're a resident, you can't come out of your home. But if you live nearby or in Jersey City and you don't know about this, what can they really do? Escort you out of the city? Would they arrest you? I think for the most part, the cops would just probably roll up and say, hey, you got to leave. You can't be here. But I'm not sure how you actually enforce this stuff. Same is true for Puerto Rico. If you were walking around, what are they going to do? Arrest everybody? Hopefully people are heeding this advice and just doing what they need to do, and you don't need these measures. But I think it's entirely possible that moving forward, we're going to see domestic travel restrictions. They say, in addition, all non-essential businesses, including theaters, malls, casinos, bars, gyms, and any place that promotes the gathering of citizens in one place will be closed starting at 6 p.m. Sunday. The government had previously declared a state of emergency on March 12th and had already canceled schools through the end of the month and barred cruise ships from landing. Vasquez said she understood the new rules would be a blow to the island's fragile economy, but said they were necessary. All citizens should stay in their homes and avoid propagating the virus. It's everyone's responsibility, she said. God bless Puerto Rico. I hope everyone there certainly stays safe. Now we have one more really big update. Manila enters lockdown for a month. Duterte call a Moles curfew. So this is from just last night. Now, this is not the United States, but it's just another example of stories that are falling in, we're seeing similar measures. So in the Philippines, they're going to be quarantined. They're entering a lockdown. We are seeing a lot of voluntary lockdown. There are a lot of most people aren't going out. A lot of people ran to stores, raided them, but now we're seeing a lot of photos emerging of empty streets. I don't know if we need hard quarantine measures, but apparently in some places we do. On social media, there's a lot of photos and videos of people partying in Chicago with St. Paddy's Day coming up. People are out at the bars partying like this is no big deal. If we overwhelm our ICU beds, as it looks like we're going to, these people are going to regret it. But what can you really do? I don't know if you guys saw the Rudy Gobert thing where the NBA player started rubbing all the tables and wiping his hands on the microphones. And then it turned out he tested positive for COVID-19. The issue is not that young people are at risk. They are to a certain degree. It's that it's going to spread to the people who are at risk. And that's what we don't want to happen. So we can see in the United States and internationally, lockdowns, we're seeing curfews. I'm going to wrap this one up here. I've got a couple other big updates for you coming up. So stick around. As the news breaks, I will be covering it. I've got another story in just a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.